Right now, while you're watching this video, someone in America is getting paid. Not because they clocked in, not because they picked up their phone, not because they did anything at all.
They got paid because at some point, they stopped trading hours for dollars and started building something that doesn't need them to show up. That thing has a name. It's called a cash-flowing system. And in the next 18 minutes, I'm going to walk you through 6 of them, ranked from the lowest amount of money you need to start all the way up to the most powerful income machine most Americans walk past every single day without ever stopping to think, wait, I could own that. Stay until the end, because the last one, it's the most boring business you've ever seen in your life, and it's also the one printing the most money. Business number 1, rental arbitrage. Startup cost, $5,000 to $15,000. Monthly potential, $1,200 to $5,000 plus. Here's a question nobody asks. What if you could charge someone to stay in an apartment that isn't yours, without a mortgage, without a bank loan, without your name on a single deed, and that person leaves you a 5-star review on the way out? That's not a loophole. That's not illegal. That is a business model that hundreds of Americans are running right now, and it's called rental arbitrage. Here's exactly how it works. You find an apartment in a high-traffic area, near a downtown, an airport, a university, a tourist destination, anywhere people have a reason to visit. You approach the landlord, sign a standard lease, and pay your monthly rent just like any other tenant. But before you sign, you have one conversation. You ask for written permission to list the unit on short-term rental platforms. That's it. That's the whole unlock. A lot of landlords say yes, especially when you sweeten the deal with a slightly higher monthly rate. Now you take that apartment. Let's say you're paying $900 a month. You furnish it properly, photograph it professionally, and list it on Airbnb or Vrbo. A well-located unit in most American cities books for $80 to $150 a night. Book 20 nights, you just brought in $1,600 to $3,000. Your cost was $900. The rest is yours. That's rental arbitrage. You don't own anything, but you earn like you do. How you turn one unit into a business. Now here's where most people stop, and where the real operators keep going. Once that first apartment is running, you don't sit back and relax. You replicate the system, because the infrastructure you built for apartment 1 works exactly the same for apartment 5 and apartment 15. Dynamic pricing software that automatically adjusts your nightly rate based on local demand. Automated guest messaging from booking confirmation all the way through checkout. A smart lock that lets guests check themselves in. No keys, no waiting. A cleaning crew that runs on its own schedule between stays. You don't manage any of it. The system manages itself. You just review the numbers. There are operators today running 20, 25, 30 Airbnb units, none of which they own, generating $30,000 to $50,000 a month in revenue. It started with one apartment and a decision not to stop. Maybe you're thinking, Chris, I don't have $10,000 to put into an apartment right now. That's fine, because the next business on this list costs exactly $0 to start. Business number 2, print on demand. Startup cost, $0 to $500. Monthly potential, $500 to $10,000 plus. Somewhere right now, a person in Ohio is getting a payment notification on their phone. They're probably at work, or asleep, or sitting in traffic, and they didn't do anything to earn it today, because they already did the work 2 years ago. They designed a t-shirt, uploaded it to a platform, and that design has been selling on its own ever since. That's print on demand. And the reason most people ignore it is because it sounds too simple. Let me show you how it actually works. You create a design, a phrase, an image, a concept that speaks to a very specific group of people. You upload it to a platform like Printify, Printful, or Merch by Amazon. Those platforms connect your design to physical products. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, phone cases, tote bags. When a customer places an order, the platform prints it, packs it, and ships it directly to them. You never touch the product. You never see it. You just see the deposit. And here's where 90% of people who try this fail. They design for everyone. A mug that says, "I love coffee," sells to nobody. But a mug that says, "ER nurse fuel, third shift, no sleep, still saving lives," that sells, because the person who picks it up looks at it and thinks, that is me. That was made for me. A shirt for dog owners is generic. A shirt for people who wake up at 5 a.m. to run 5 miles before their golden retriever does, that's a product. Specificity is what turns a design into recurring income. And the beautiful part of this model is that every design you upload stays live with no expiration date. A catalog of 40 to 60 well-targeted designs can generate consistent monthly income without you ever touching it again. The print-on-demand market in the US surpassed $13 billion last year and is growing at roughly 26% annually. The startup cost is zero if you already know design software, or a few $100s if you hire a freelancer on Fiverr to create your first batch. The margin? Between 70 and 90%, because there's no inventory to finance, no warehouse, no employees. You create the asset once, the asset runs on its own.
Business number 3, digital products and courses. Startup cost $0 to $3,000. Monthly potential $1,000 to $20,000 plus. Think about the last time a friend texted you asking how to do something you already know how to do. How to set up an LLC, how to negotiate a raise, how to budget with an irregular income, how to start investing with $500. You explained it, and 2 weeks later, somebody else asked you the exact same thing. At some point in that cycle, you've probably thought, I wish I could just send them a link. Here's the thing, you can, and people will pay for that link. That thought is the business. It's called a digital product, a course, an ebook, a template, a financial calculator, a step-by-step guide. You create it once. From that moment forward, it can sell to anyone, anywhere in the world, at any hour of the day without you being awake or involved. You don't have to be the expert in the room. And here's the part that most people get wrong about this business. They assume you need credentials, a degree, a resume, a certification. You don't. You don't need to be the best at what you know. You just need to be further along than someone who's just starting out. The person who figured out how to pay off $40,000 in credit card debt in 3 years doesn't need a finance degree to teach someone who just hit $5,000 in debt and has no idea where to begin. Your experience is the product. Your story is the curriculum. 2 paths if you feel like you have nothing to teach. First, use AI. Today, you can research a topic, build a full course outline, and create the content in a fraction of the time it would have taken even 5 years ago. You're not fabricating knowledge, you're packaging existing information into a format that's organized, accessible, and actually useful for the person who needs it. Second, skip creating the product entirely. There are platforms where you can promote other people's courses and earn a commission on every sale. You handle the marketing, they built the product. Both sides win. The U.S. online education market is projected to exceed $87 billion by 2026. That's not because Americans suddenly became more curious. It's because the right knowledge, delivered at the right time, is worth more to most people than a 4-year degree that costs $100,000 and takes half a decade. A digital file doesn't run out of stock. It doesn't wear out. It doesn't need to be shipped. Once it's uploaded to a platform like Gumroad, Kajabi, or Teachable, every transaction happens automatically. A customer in Texas buys your course at 2 a.m. The platform charges them, delivers the product, and records the sale. You wake up to a notification. Real quick, drop a comment right now. Tell me, what's the one thing you know how to do that you've explained to other people more than 5 times? Because that might already be a product. I'm reading every single comment. Also, if you're getting value from this and you want to keep seeing content that's actually about making your money work harder than you do, hit subscribe. Every video I put out on this channel is designed to give you something you can actually use. Not just motivation, not theory, real frameworks. If that's what you're here for, you'll want to stick around. Business number 4, vending machines. Startup cost $1,500 to $8,000. Monthly income $300 to $2,000 plus per machine. Okay, I know what you're thinking, vending machines. Again, every passive income video mentions this and you've heard it so many times that it doesn't even register anymore. I get it, but here's why it keeps showing up on every list, because it keeps working for everyone who actually does it. Let's talk about what this business actually looks like in practice. You spend between $2,000 and $6,000 on a machine. You negotiate placement at a gym, an office building, a hospital, a school, a car dealership waiting room, anywhere people are stuck, waiting, and hungry. The machine goes in, it starts selling, you restock it once or twice a week, you collect the cash or check your app for card payments. A single well-placed machine generates between $300 and $800 a month. That's not going to replace your income, but here's the math that changes the conversation. 1 machine is extra income, 5 machines is a side business, 10 machines is an operation, and the system you use to manage 1 machine scales directly to all of them. Modern vending machines are not the coin-operated boxes from 1987. Today's machines accept cards and mobile payments, report inventory and revenue in real time, and alert you when something is low or malfunctioning, all from an app on your phone. You don't have to be there for the machine to make money. You just have to keep it stocked. There are operators in the U.S. running 15 to 25 machines who work 4 hours a week and generate over $250,000 a year in revenue. This is not a headline I'm making up. It's a math problem. More machines, same system, compounding income.
Business number 5, Laundromats, 12 minutes to 14 minutes 30 seconds. Startup cost, $200,000 to $600,000. Monthly income, $5,000 to $30,000 plus. I want to tell you something about boring businesses. The ones that get covered in magazines, the ones that trend on social media, the ones everyone calls the next big thing. They have a very high failure rate. The exciting businesses are exciting because they're new, and new means unproven. The boring businesses, they've been working for 40 years without anyone making a YouTube video about them, and that's exactly why they're still working. Laundromats are one of those businesses. You've walked past one hundreds of times. There's never an owner standing behind a counter. It runs at 7 a.m. and midnight and every hour in between without anyone supervising it. The customers walk in, load their clothes, pay the machine, and leave. Nobody needs to be there. And here is the single most important thing I can tell you about this business. Clothes always get dirty. In a recession, clothes get dirty. In a pandemic, clothes get dirty. When the stock market drops, when inflation spikes, when consumer confidence tanks, people still need clean laundry. That's what I mean when I say indestructible demand. There's a reason you cannot think of the last time you saw a laundromat close due to lack of customers. The demand doesn't go away. The numbers. The startup cost is significant, between $200,000 and $600,000 to purchase or build a location. This is not a beginner business. It requires capital, and it requires you to take the acquisition seriously. But here's what's on the other side of that investment. $5,000 to $30,000 per month in revenue depending on location and size. Owners who run multiple locations manage them from their phones using remote monitoring apps that track machine performance, flag issues automatically, and report daily revenue in real time. The laundromat industry generates over $5 billion per year in the United States. Most of that money is going to people who bet on boring. Business number 6, self-storage facilities, 14 minutes 30 seconds to 17 minutes 30 seconds. Startup cost, $1 million to $5 million plus. Monthly income, $10,000 to $100,000 plus. All right, we made it to the last one. And I promised you at the very beginning of this video that it would be the most boring business on the list. And I'm keeping that promise. Because when I tell you what it is, your first instinct is going to be to skip past it. And that instinct is going to cost you. Metal walls, roll-up doors, padlocks, concrete floors, long hallways that lead to units nobody ever decorates. Nothing glamorous, nothing exciting, nothing that makes you want to post about it. It's called self-storage, and it is the single highest income ceiling business model on this entire list. Here's the model. Americans have too much stuff. They always have. Things that don't fit in their homes, things they can't bring themselves to throw away, things from a move or a business closure or an inheritance. Those things need somewhere to go. You give them a place. They pay you every month to keep it there. Why the business practically runs itself. The customers find an available unit on your website. They select it, pay automatically, sign a digital lease, and receive an access code. If they miss a payment, the system charges a late fee automatically. If they still don't pay, the system sends escalating notices and initiates the lien process without you making a single phone call. There's no inventory, the customer brings their own belongings, no service staff needed for a small facility, just basic maintenance on doors and security cameras. There are almost no components that break down frequently. It's metal walls and roll-up doors. The startup cost is the highest on this list, $1.5 million or more for a new facility, depending on land, size, and location. But the return profile is unlike anything else we've talked about today. Here is the stat that I want you to hold on to. The average self-storage unit customer keeps their unit for more than 14 months. 14 months of automatic monthly payments from a single customer who signed one digital form and never needed your attention again. You're not constantly hunting for new revenue. The revenue stays, and while it stays, it compounds. The self-storage industry in the United States generates over $40 billion per year. It has outperformed almost every sector of commercial real estate for more than a decade. Not because it's exciting, because it doesn't stop working. Owners of small to mid-size facilities, 200 to 400 units, report spending fewer than 2 hours per week on operations once the automation infrastructure is in place. 2 hours per week.
6 businesses. All of them boring, none of them going to make you rich by tomorrow morning. But every single one of them has something that most jobs, most side hustles, and most passive income opportunities you've ever heard of will never give you. A system that keeps running when you're not watching it. Right now, as you finish this video, there's a storage unit in a facility somewhere in America processing its monthly auto payment. There's a laundromat with 4 machines running at midnight while the owner's asleep. There's a vending machine dispensing a bag of chips to a hospital worker on a night shift. There's a t-shirt being printed and shipped to someone in California from a design that was uploaded in 2021. There's a course being delivered to a student in Georgia at 3 a.m. There's an Airbnb guest checking themselves in with a code while the operator gets 8 uninterrupted hours. 6 systems, 6 ways to earn money that doesn't depend on your presence. The question isn't which one is the best. The question is, which one can you start with what you actually have right now, this week, before the idea becomes just another thing you researched and never did? If you made it to the end of this video, you already know this channel doesn't waste your time. Every video I publish here is built around one goal, giving you frameworks and information you can actually act on. Not motivation, not hype, just the stuff that works. Subscribe, new videos every week, and drop a comment below. Tell me which of these 6 you're most seriously considering. Or if you already run a business that earns without you being on top of it every day, I want to hear about it. That comment section could genuinely be the most useful thing you read today.